All right, everybody. If it's a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, you know that we are here. It is the DH Podcast. It is Monday, August 3rd. I don't even know what the month of August is. All of the calendar is a lie when you're just at home, working from home, and nothing changes. So, it is a Monday, but fear not, because this is the first Monday in a while that we have actual, and by a while, I mean 4 months at least, that we have actual Big Four sports that are playing their regular season, not preseason. So, last Monday we had seen some preseason, but some round robin. Nope. This season, the records are actually counting, this Monday. It's already downhill from here. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. Remember, you can, of course, subscribe here on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You find us on Instagram. More importantly, if you want to listen to the full podcast of myself and my co-host, you can find us on Spotify and Apple, as well as Anchor, which are 3 biggest ones. Anything after that, pretty much anywhere you listen to a podcast, you can find us. Anchor pushes us out everywhere. So we're out there. Just got to find us. Number 1, Aaron Judge is mashing right now, and I think that's an understatement. 5 days, 5 games, 5 home runs. That hasn't been done since 2007, which is very coincidental, if you ask me, because last night, who would have been on the call for Aaron Judge? A-Rod. Well, A-Rod was the one to do that in 2007. So, A-Rod, watching his record get broken, compares the likes of Aaron Judge to Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Babe Ruth. But it's a pretty high pantheon, if you ask me. I get it. You're caught up in the moment, but that's just stupid. It's just stupid. Aaron Judge is phenomenal, and he's a blast to watch play simply because he is a gargantuan hitting a tiny ball with a big stick. Just physical comedy in itself, Chris Farley style. It's great comedy to watch Aaron Judge play. And also, he refused to get his teeth fixed, which, respect. Strahan did the same thing. He said, that's how people know me. If I see a very large man with some busted up teeth, I tend to think of Aaron Judge too. But that's that. No, they're not going to test him for any PEDs, you woke idiots. That's not going to happen. He just happens to be in the prime of his career, and there also just happens to be no fans in the stands. On a side note, whether it's, especially in you think of MLB and NBA they're playing right now, they have to love the fact that there are no fans before games, after games, in their hotel rooms to bug them. They're in the bubble. They get to be secluded, and you know what they get to do? They get to focus on their craft. So these guys aren't worried on, any extra media, or they're not worried about some random dude pulling a fire alarm just so at 4 a.m. they're hoping that Russell Westbrook walks out and they can talk to him for 30 seconds about nothing while Russell Westbrook clearly sees what's happening. No. And they love it. And I would love it too if I were them. I mean, it's amazing because they're never going to get this again. So you have to take stock in the positives, splash on through. Number 2 on the Hi5. NFL still being assholes. That's about it. They're trying to move the opt-out of the season date because, as you know, we've seen a higher rate of opting out. One, because NFL is already screwed up in the fact that they're saying no bubble. I think that this needs to be non-negotiable because you can clearly see what happens in the NBA, the WNBA, the NHL, consistently no new cases. When people are following return protocol and when the first 2 weeks are over and that the gameplay actually starts, there's no new cases because it's the same people. And those people that do test positive, they have to go to a very separate location to quarantine. It's simple math. But the MLB did not listen. It's why they had to ban the Marlins until, I think it was last Friday. Either way, they have to suspend most of the Cardinals games because, and actually, I apologize because I told you on Friday, Cardinals-Brewers was going to be great, and it was going to be great. But That's when the postponing of the games for the Cardinals has begun. I don't know if they've had enough players to warrant a suspension of the season. I don't think it'll happen, but they have to have planned the schedule out to make sure that there are enough gaps to where you're not getting all these teams playing doubleheaders all the time. That just can't happen. So, back to the NFL, that yes, they should be using a bubble. It's a separate conversation. That the opt-out date for the NFL is typically a week after the new collective bargaining agreement has been signed. So, you get the collective bargaining agreement, you allow players to mull on it, and then those that don't want to be a part of that next season, they can opt out. And then they get a minimum amount of money. It's a very small percentage of what their actual contract would have been had they played in all 16 games in 17 weeks. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to move it up to Wednesday. Now, we're still working on the CBA because there are a lot of different things that they want to trade, that they want to change. They want rookies to be receiving higher pay like they deserve, but they also don't want them to be in an endless cycle of franchise tagging. So they might try to put a cap on the amount of times that somebody can be franchise tagged. We don't know. That's completely up to the CBA, but they're trying to move it from 1 week after the CBA has been signed to Wednesday. And I couldn't wait till Wednesday to tell you about this. Has to be today. We're seeing a higher clip of NFL players opting out than any other sport. Any other sport. And the NFL threatening to move it up is egregious because it literally just goes to show that you do not care about player safety. Every last single thing that you do to mitigate and help player safety is a sham. It is a sham, and it's done because people are forcing you to do it, just like we're forcing you to back off this right now. It makes no goddamn sense. There's no reason for it. You're going to have players out on the field all the time. I don't think until Patrick Mahomes steps off the field will we see a lot of people care. Just don't. Number 3, over the weekend in the NBA, three-pointers are king. You had the Clippers drain 25 of them against the Pelicans, but you also had the Rockets shoot 61 threes against the Bucks last night. Harden's locked in. In case you haven't been watching, in case you haven't been paying attention, James Harden's locked in. I am a notorious James Harden hater. Notorious. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It's just there. Does he care? No. He's far more successful than I will ever be. So he has no reason to punch down. I only have reasons to punch up. So what I'm seeing is somebody that's not focused on the media. He's denying baiting questions. After the game, after them beating the Bucks, they tried to bait him again to say some shit about Giannis. It didn't work. He's locked in. He's ready to go. He's got Russell Westbrook. I mean, it's a very different mentality that we're seeing out of James Harden. And I think that he also likes the fact that it's in a bubble because he doesn't have to care. He doesn't have to care or placate to other people's feelings. It's go time. Number 4, a little bit of a milestone. Doc Rivers becomes number 11 on the all-time winningest coaches. It's big because he passed Red Auerbach. Anytime somebody gets past Red Auerbach, it's huge. And so he moves into number 11, but he'll be at about number 10 next week. So he only has to have 5 more wins to get there. And so by the end of next week, by next Wednesday or next Friday, he'll have moved into number 10 as well. So I won't make that a number itself. I'll toss it as an honorable mention. But he's there are only 2 because Doc Rivers is number 11, there's actually only one active coach in the top 10 or in the top 5. That's Pops. Pops at number 3. So we'll see if either of them move. Spurs aren't really good enough to be helping but Pop's favor right now. But the Clippers won't stop winning, so Doc's going to keep moving. He'll be at 10 next week. It's gonna take a while to get to 9. So we're going to have to get into quadruple digits. So he's going to have to hit the big 1,000. And that may be another honorable mention. 1,000 wins is clearly only 10 people have done it. It's incredible. All right. Number 5, Nazem Kadri, Colorado Avalanche. I don't know it happens maybe once per season, and I use maybe because that says how little it happens when you get a buzzer beater in hockey. It literally extremely rare. He hits one in. Colorado Avalanche now up 1-0 on the defending champs, St. Louis Blues. Blues can easily bounce back, but one hole is not the place you want to be, especially in the round robin section. I've got some locks for you because now that sports are back, betting is back. Matt and I are going to be talking a whole lot more about gambling because we're degenerates, and that's how things go. So I've got a good parlay to start off with. Grizzlies and Pelicans tonight. One, it's a great game because you get Ja and Zion again. It's an over of 237. The overs have been crushing. Just crushing. I don't know what it is. We've seen a wildly disproportionate amount of overs hitting, and 237 does not seem like a lot. It means that they're going to each have to get to, 118, 119, somewhere in that zone. Doable. Smash the over, but also for the second part of the parlay, it's a little mini parlay. Grizzlies +4. Calling my shot on that one. The Grizzlies have been moving up. They're now number 7 in the standings, whereas the Pelicans have fallen in the standings to back down to the basement. So watch out because this is a pivotal game for either team, but I'm taking Grizzlies +4. My second lock, shout out to Bookie Greg, is Philly -7. Philly -7 is good here because on Saturday, Philadelphia lost to TJ Warren. He didn't even lose to the Pacers. He lost to TJ Warren, scoring 53 points. And just because you lost by 4, it's still the Pacers. So they have a very similar record, made it a more even matchup, but Sixers had a day off. They're going to be really pissed off about that, so expect them to cover -7. Lakers were also really close for me. They're -6 tonight, so I'd keep them as a floater, but I'm also not trying to give people too many expected winners to be locks. That's no fun. Nobody likes that. So, again, this has been the Hi5 series from the DH podcast. My name's Nick. It is Monday, August 3rd, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.